Hey guys, you're on DevOps Pass AI channel, and it means we will try to make your life a bit easier today. Today we will cover Docker and Docker Compose, how you can Dockerize your application in a few clicks, how you can set up local development environment with Docker Compose, if you need for local development, for example, MySQL or Postgres, Mongo, Redis, whatever. And we will see which features DevOps Pass providing to you. First of all, before you can do anything with DevOps Pass and Docker, you have to add application. So adding Docker application. By default, of course, you have no Docker installed, so you can use action install Docker. It will install Docker for you on Windows, Linux, and macOS. If you on Windows, it's highly recommended to set up WSL first. WSL is Windows subsystem for Linux, so you can use action install WSL. It will do all necessary steps for you. It will install necessary features. It will install WSL, deploy default Ubuntu distro on your local, and you can start with it. After that, you can install Docker from install Docker action, and you can start using it. Okay, now we will play with sample project. You may know that project, maybe not. Spring Pet Clinic. It's sample project for Spring. You can clone it on your local, play with it, build, blah, 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 and move on. We will play with it on our local. So let's generate Dockerfile for that application. So generate Dockerfile, specify path to application. I'll specify that it's Java Spring Boot app. Generate, and in a few seconds I will have working Dockerfile. Okay, you can see something was generated. Let's check what is it. So in VS Code I have new file, Dockerfile, where I'm using Java 17, and it will build jar for me. After that I can reuse that jar. Okay, nice. I have Dockerfile. Next step, okay, I have Dockerfile. Now I have to build Docker image out of it. Let's open our terminal. Okay, Docker build for local file. It will build Docker image for me, which I can later push and reuse on my local for Compose, or if I will push it to any registry, I can use it in Kubernetes, generate Helm chart for it, and so on. If you don't want to use Kubernetes, you can check, we have on our channel, we have pretty good workshop how to deploy Docker applications without Kuber using systemd and Docker. Pretty useful. Link will be here. Okay, as you can see, it's finished. We can move on. Let's open DevOps Pass again. Open Docker images. You can see my image, my pet clinic latest, 375 megabytes. Oh my. Okay, it's Java. Let's start that container. Start Docker container. I will use it. I will call it pet clinic. Image name, my fresh image. Interactive, no. Let's go. Start Docker container. As you can see, in Docker containers, I have new container, pet clinic, with my image. It is running. Let's attach to that container and see what's happening inside. As you can see, I have logs of my web application. running in background. I can detach from it. Closing window. Okay. What I can do else? So I just started Docker container. I can attach to it, as you saw a few seconds ago, means I will open terminal showing me output of Docker container. If it would be bash, for example, I will receive command line inside of this container. Next one, stop container will do docker stop, remove container will stop and remove container, and copy into clipboard. Let's remove that one. I don't need it anymore. Okay. What else? In Docker images, we have pretty interesting feature, which is, from my perspective, really necessary sometimes. Open image description. Pretty often you have Docker container on your local or on remote, and you don't know what is it, how to use it, which environment variables, how to run it properly, blah, 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 blah. So click open image description, and it will open Docker Hub page for that container, and you can check which tags you have, which variables you can use, examples, and so on. Okay. Next one. Docker containers and Docker images. It is very beautiful, but we need development environment. So pretty often, as a developer, you may need Postgres or Mongo, Redis, for example, any backend, and some front end. For example, you want to run nginx in front of your application to check how it will behave behind load balancer or proxy, and so on. Let's generate Docker Compose. I have no composes running at the moment. Generate compose. I will specify folder, my Spring Pad Clinic. I want to use application port 8080, nginx. I will need nginx. It should be listening on 8081. If I need MySQL, Postgres, Mongo, Redis, maybe yes, maybe not. Generate compose. And as you can see in VS Code, I have new file, compose YAML, nginx conf. For my nginx configuration, compose will do MySQL for me, nginx, and my application. Okay, next step. We have Docker Compose. Let's spin it up. Docker Compose -d. You can see -d means run it in daemon mode, detached. Let's return back to DevOps Pass. Check Docker Compose. You can see a Spring Pad Clinic, my Docker Compose. It's running 3 containers. I can stop services, move it down, rebuild images, pause on pause, and that's it. I have my environment. Let's try it in browser. Localhost 8081. Ta-da! Docker Compose is working. So you had nothing a few minutes ago. Now you have Dockerized your application, means you can push it to any Docker registry. You have created Docker Compose for your application, which means you can develop locally with MySQL, any database you need. And you can move forward, like make Helm chart for it and push it to Kubernetes. Easy peasy. I hope that video was helpful for you. See you soon. And do remember, we're trying to make DevOps simple again.